Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us at the 25th San Francisco Independent Film Festival. We're so excited to have you all here with us. The festival runs from February 2nd to 12th at the Roxy Theater in San Francisco, as well as virtually, which is how you're joining us here today for our online documentary program number one. Thank you so much to our filmmakers that were able to join us to come and chat about their wonderful films. To kick things off, I'm just going to start off by asking our filmmakers to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about how they brought their wonderful films into being. And we're going to kick it off with Erica. Hi, Erica.
Hello. Hi, I'm Erica Houle. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York, and I've had a career as a camera woman throughout the business in all sorts of realms, features, television shows, documentaries. And this film, Dust to Light, came together when I was on a trip to Taiwan. There's a tea and Zen center based in Miaoli, Taiwan, where I've gone a few times to learn about tea and to visit friends. And one time I was visiting there, and the schedule was pretty open and flexible. And one thing that they do every Monday at the Zen Center is a deep, deep cleaning where they clean the entire building top to bottom, deeper than most people clean their homes for spring cleaning every year. And I have a personal relationship with cleaning where, there was this sort of negative story I carried in my life for a long time that I hated doing the dishes. And I just one time heard a talk by a Zen teacher that said, was talking about how to wash the dishes with care and attention. And I just sort of a light bulb went off. And I was like, I'm going to stop hating this part of my life. It's something I do every day. I have to do. Should just not be so negative about it. And so that was a bit of a small enlightenment moment for me. And it changed my life and the way that I look at so many things. And a lot of people have had similar experiences with Zen practice, especially around cleaning, but of course about many things in life. And so I borrowed a couple of their cameras that they have for educational purposes at the Zen Center and just shot some footage, gave it to a friend of mine, and I said, do you think there's something in here? It happened very organically, really not a whole lot of planning, and he pulled out a nice little film out of the footage. And yeah, I think there's more to come with this cleaning subject.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hi, Sean. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm Sean Fee. I'm based in Zurich, Switzerland, and I'm a filmmaker working in documentary but also commercials. Um, so the subject of my film came about through me and a couple of my friends, the cameraman on the film, and actually the guy who surfs in the film, talking about how when we travel, especially for the surfer as a person who's becoming a professional surfer, it's very hard to actually connect with the cultures you travel to. And you end up living kind of this superficial existence where you're not tapping into the people who live there or the cultures that have been in place for such a long time. And so with this film, we wanted to go somewhere which was out of the ordinary, somewhere really challenging, somewhere really beautiful. And so most of the planning of this film was actually where and when to go to the location. And we decided on the Lofoten region in Norway, which is in the Arctic Circle. And a certain time of year when you basically have filmmakers will know you basically have a constant blue or golden hour the whole day. The sun is only just above the horizon for 7 hours, and there's waves, so we could keep in the topic of surfing, and then bring in the local culture by doing a real casting for someone who also had a close relationship with the ocean. And almost everyone in that part of Norway fishes for a living, and so we found a woman who fishes every day and told her story parallel along with the surfer's story of exploration.
Awesome. Thank you so much for telling us about your film, Siddhartha. Hi, Diane. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Diane Cheklich. I am a co-director of the movie Pheasants of Detroit. I live in Detroit. I've been here for 10 years. And I noticed that, we have pheasants walking around in the city. And I'm also a nature lover, so I'm kind of tuned into that as well. And everyone in the city seemed to have a pheasant story. So I thought, well, let's pull all that together. Let's tell that story. And it's really I found it to be pretty amazing how many people do have a story, businesses, artists, a lot of pheasant stories out there. And my filmmaking partner, Diane Weiss, and I had a lot of fun telling the stories because one might lead to another. And it was, like Erica's film, a very organic process. Took us about 5 years to make it. But we had a lot of fun all the way. And so the journey was really part of the value to us. And we're happy to bring it to the world. Thrilled to be at San Francisco Indie Fest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diane. I'm actually going to kick it back to you. I'm so struck by your film and thinking about how unique it is to a place like Detroit and what it says about the Detroit community and also kind of Detroit's history in terms of its kind of boom and bust as a city. Can you speak to a little bit more about that within the space of the community?
Sure. Well, Detroit has a very large footprint. It's like 139 square miles, and it has been, boom and bust is an accurate way to describe it. The city's lost over half of its population since the 50s. And so the city has a lot of open space as a result. Still neighborhoods, and in fact, but they're less dense than they used to be, and some open spaces that have transformed or reverted back to more of a natural way. And that has fostered a nice habitat for pheasants and other creatures. We're right on the Detroit River, which is a major flyway for migratory birds. And so there's a lot of nature here, and that's something that people don't automatically associate with the city of Detroit. And so it's kind of fun to introduce this to people who might have a different picture of the city.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sean, your film is so technical in its way that it captures the sea, your use of your film work. Can you talk about like your approach to the cinematography within your film?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, there was so many unpredictable parts of this, story. We couldn't plan for the waves. We couldn't plan for the weather. We couldn't actually plan who we were going to meet up there, who was going to come to the casting. All we knew was it was a very reduced crew. And so with Google Maps, Google Earth, and a lot of time, we planned, and the Sunseeker kind of apps where you can really see where the sun is going to hit where. We can kind of predict, okay, this is what it's going to look like here, and a lot of research. Okay, this is where we want to film the surfing, and this is where we would like to film the fishing, and let's see if we can make it work. And so it was not a lot of sleeping when we were up there, and just getting up before sunrise, turning up at the spot and waiting till the waves were working or waiting for the storm to pass, because it was the first week of March and it's still pretty rough season up there on the seas. And so it was the most planned part of the shoot, the cinematography, how we were going to safely capture the surfing. And so we had a professional underwater filmer there with us, cinematographer. And sometimes he couldn't go in the water and sometimes he could, just because of safety. But yeah, and the cold was another thing. Even not surfing and standing, I was pulling focus because we're such a small crew, and you can't feel your hands even with 3 pairs of gloves on after a few minutes. So you can only imagine what it would be like to be in the water surfing. So yeah, it was challenging, but I'm really proud of the work we all did in terms of the pictures, for sure.
It's remarkable. Congratulations. It's a really, really visually striking piece. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Erica, what can you talk more about the Zenverse? You said that you were expanding the way that you're talking about Zen and cleaning. Can you talk about if you have plans to expand this film or what are the next steps for you
Yeah.
creatively with this?
Yeah, thank you. So in the handful of test screenings or small private screenings that I've had, just to sort of see how people respond to it, there have been so many discussions afterwards. Each person relates so strongly to the topic of cleaning, whether they hate it or they love it or they're kind of like obsessed and have control issues. So it actually taps into a lot of our deepest feelings of life and how we sort of are settled in our lives and what we think about the world. So also it just, of course, I think documentary filmmakers were very close to and necessarily have to be close to the subject matter in some way to put in the amount of time that we put into these films. And so, looking at my own life and even with my partner, like our cleaning habits, one maybe is more clean, one is less clean, and how we got to be that way, and how do you live together, and what's really important, and then like what's really going on. I think that's a bit of maybe in the synopsis or the log line for the film, is like what's really going on under the surface when we're cleaning. And so it's not always about everything being pro cleaning. I mean, Marie Kondo is amazing. I think she's done a lot of great work, but I think there's a lot more to the story than just pro cleaning, pro tidying. Minimalism. There's a fantastic 2 documentaries that these guys made about minimalism, fantastic films. I think they make some great points, but I think there's more to it. And there's also an opportunity to make a film where people can kind of see that it's not always just let's always be minimalist or let's always have a perfectly tidy home. Like what's really going on when we clean or don't clean, or just how do we feel about all of it? So there's, I think, a lot more examining and helping people really understand how they relate to the world and their own lives, with either a feature or series or something. The development is growing and growing on that. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it can help more people, turn inwardly, see a bit more of what they're not yet observing about their own lives.
Wonderful. Well, I think it's a really interesting kind of socio perspective to dive into. So I can't wait to see what is coming up next. Well, friends, I think that's all the time we have for our Q&A today. A huge thank you to our filmmakers, and thank you so much to our audience who logged on and shared all these wonderful stories. So thank you all so much, and come watch more movies.